Hey everyone, it's Flakfire. Battlefield 5 is full of some interesting details, and with the launch of NVIDIA's line of GeForce RTX cards, it adds an entirely new dimension to an already graphically impressive game. For this video, I'll point out 5 of my favorite details made possible by this real-time ray tracing. Now, to show you the difference ray tracing makes in Battlefield 5, my friends at NVIDIA sent me this GeForce RTX 2080 Ti, some other goodies, and a copy of Battlefield 5. If you want to learn more about this new hardware, click the link in the video description. So, let's talk about ray tracing for a bit. GPU designers have been chasing it for years, touting it as the next big step in realism. It works by casting light rays onto the scene and tracing them back to the light source. This accurately simulates how light bounces off of different objects in the game. If that seems a bit confusing, ray tracing essentially duplicates the reflections we experience in everyday life and delivers photorealistic lighting to everything happening on screen. It's important to know ray tracing technology isn't new, and it's something that's been around for a while. We actually see it quite a bit in computer-animated films, but real-time ray tracing in games remained out of reach until the launch of NVIDIA's GeForce RTX GPUs. Battlefield 5 is the first game to feature real-time ray tracing, and it looks like developers have big plans for the technology. With that said, let's take a look at some of the insane details made possible with RTX on at 60 frames per second. First up, ray tracing in Battlefield 5 does an absolutely awesome job of reflecting environments. This might seem like a small detail, but it has a bigger impact than many people realize. The reflection of landscapes and environments really sells the sense of depth and distance on a map, making it seem more immersive. Ray tracing knits all of the elements on the screen together, putting it in line with what we experience every day in the real world. There are quite a few places in Battlefield 5 where this kind of reflection really shines. Both Twisted Steel and Narvik really benefit from ray tracing in this regard. On Rotterdam, the reflection of the White House is a standout, and the yellow flowers and blue sky on Arras add to the map's beauty. On Devastation, you can actually see the reflections of neon signs and even the electrical sparks from a demolished tram. Of course, it's not only puddles and water that utilize ray tracing technology in Battlefield 5. It actually applies to any reflective surface. That means you're able to see real-time reflections in windows, mirrors, and even the panes of glass on a picture frame. The amount of detail on these small surfaces is impressive. You can spot reflections of muzzle flashes and even birds if you look hard enough. Urban maps like Rotterdam are filled with windows, so ray tracing makes them seem that much more alive and responsive. During my first experience with NVIDIA RTX at Gamescom, I will fully admit that I shot my own reflection. I was that taken aback by the appearance of a figure in a window that I panicked and destroyed an innocent storefront on Rotterdam. While a little embarrassing for me, it does bring up another interesting detail made possible with ray tracing technology, and this one has an impact on gameplay. With RTX on, you're able to utilize reflective surfaces in-game as a tactical advantage. You're actually able to not only see your reflection, but everything around you, including enemy soldiers. This means you might be able to see that sneaky recon class creeping up behind you in the window of a car. This wasn't possible with previous technology, which would instead show just a generic reflection. Having surfaces that reflect things like explosions and fire make those elements seem that much more impactful and realistic. Ray tracing even reflects debris and ragdolls, which is a really nice touch. Aside from windows, ray tracing also works with metal in Battlefield 5. Check out some of the freshly waxed vehicles on Arras and Rotterdam. There's tremendous detail in the reflection of your soldier's character model. Again, this might seem like a minor detail, but it really immerses you in the game. Being able to see a reflection gives you a sense of physical presence. You're now actually in the world, not simply interacting with it. And I think that's a tremendous step forward for video games and realism. Next, different surfaces have different types of reflections in Battlefield 5. NVIDIA's ray tracing technology actually produces a different look based upon the nature of the surface. So, for example, shiny surfaces like windows produce very clear and very crisp reflections, just like they would in real life. Even the shiny marble floors in Rotterdam's White House look like they were waxed just yesterday. Reflections in deeper water actually distort with the rippling of waves. For automobiles, the curvature of the car's design can warp your appearance. Meanwhile, metal boxes and other more matte finish objects provide a more subdued and warm reflection. The burning hulk of this tank on twisted steel, for example, gives off a subtle glow against nearby objects. It adds to the environmental ambiance of the map and kicks up your immersion yet a step further. On Narvik, you'll notice the reflections in ice are a bit more soft and hazy. That's a photorealistic look, and perhaps the one that I was most impressed by. Interestingly, weather impacts ray tracing as well. Slick and wet surfaces reflect more light than those that are dry. And lastly, RTX applies even to your own weapon. Ray tracing reflects everything around you, ranging from the environment to the muzzle flash on your own gun. The effect is subtle, like the dirt or blood that collects on your weapon as you play the game, but it just adds another dimension to what you see in Battlefield 5. Thanks to NVIDIA once again for letting me get my hands on the GeForce RTX 2080 Ti to experience Battlefield 5 with ray tracing technology. If you want to experience real-time ray tracing for yourself, check the description below and click the Buy Now link. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to hit that notification bell to get updates on the latest Battlefield 5 news. And as always, thanks for watching.